Jeremy Oliver standing here with James Sexton at Mainridge Estate, and we're about to taste this wine here, which is the Mainridge Estate Chardonnay. So that's a Chardonnay grown and made here on the property, 2022 vintage, which is a marvellous season here in the peninsula. But as James has already said to us, just if it has a problem, it's just a little bit on the small side. But so in other words, these wines are scarce naturally because of the vintage. But tell me, from the point of view of the Mainridge Estate Chardonnay, what is it about this wine that really speaks to you?
I think when we're looking for the Chardonnays here, power is always going to be a big character of them, and I think one of the joys that we have on this site is that we have the elevation. We're 250 metres above sea level, but I can get you to a bay beach or a surf beach in 10-minute drive either way. So really influenced by these big maritime winds that we have coming through. And with that aspect, we should be almost too cold for grapes, but where this vineyard's located on, it's basking this big north-facing sun, and it allows us to, I guess, build up body and power and fruit intensity, but retain that natural acidity. And it's that balance between the two that we see there. So that sort of influences the ripening decisions. We do probably push our ripeness beyond what I'd say is trendy at the moment. We do to see peach and melon. I'm not afraid to see a bit of citrus, but I don't want that to be the overriding factor of the wine. And then in the winery, complexity is where we like to build up. So they will sort of slowly, they're naturally fermented in French oak. We don't inoculate for primaries or malos, but we do aim for 100% in both of those. And by doing so, and they do tend to spend a large portion of their life in barrel unsulfured, but cared for. They're regularly topped up, and hopefully throughout that process, build rich textured wines that can, when they're young, show quite a lot of overt fruit intensity. But as someone who yourself who's aged these wines, it's when you give them their time to settle down and temper. It's, I think, when you truly get rewarded by them. And as Aussie Chardonnays go, with these ones with 5 to 10 years of age are really stunning.
Oh, plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you've really got here is a huge amount of concentration. It's like essential Chardonnay, isn't it? But of that, what I really like is like the trend across Australia for the last, I'm going to say 8, maybe 10 years has been to strip the fruit out of Chardonnay, and we have these wines on the market that are very, very skinny, very thin, and almost winemakers are shy to let the fruit talk, and this is the obverse to that. It's really talking in an emphatic and delightful way as a young wine. But that's the thing that's always got me about this place, is that you would think a wine that was so fruit forward and so concentrated and so powerful in its youth may not age with grace, but the track record, certainly from this estate, is to the contrary. They go for 12, 20 years.
I think I recalled a dinner a while ago where I was actually trying to find a wine that I wanted some really aged characters for it, and I think I pulled out one of the wines here that I think it could have been a 2006, and it had about 15 years of age of it, and the thing still had a green hue and fresh, vibrant fruit characters. I went, oh, that goes that plan. Delicious wine. We drank all of it, but it was a terrible food match in the end.
Yeah. Occasionally, yeah. But no, wow. So here you've heavily worked this as well, haven't you? You've really, in terms of letting the wine, heavily worked is like actually it's a strange comment, because heavily worked is often a way of saying you do absolutely nothing other than perhaps stir the yeast occasionally. To get this character and texture. And
the bit of leaf stirring does occur throughout. It more so, I think it's those prolonged malos. It's we harvest here typically in the in years like this, mid-April, and it means that the fermentation, if you're just going to allow it to go through a natural process, it's doing it in quite cold conditions. So they're by no means rapid, which means you have all that fermentative activity occurring for sometimes the primary fermentation for 6 weeks, then the malolactic fermentation for 5 to 6 months. And that whole character, it means you don't require too much leaf stirring, it's just patience, I think, tends to happen more.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So often less is more. That's what you're doing.
Focus a lot on the vineyard and allow things to do themselves in the winery, but without with keeping an eye on it the whole way. If you're not keeping an eye as that process goes, that's where it can get away from you.
And you're using the malo to deacidify the wine as much as anything, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is extraordinary in Australia and mainland Australia.
Yeah, it's sort of, I think a lot of people question why we go for a full malo before tasting the wines, and if you look at our wines before they've gone through that process, you'd understand why. They come off the vineyard with, I think this year alone I had about 6.5 grams of malic acid in some of my fruit alone, which to leave that would be real, you wouldn't have much enamel on your teeth left after that. So it is definitely very much a softening process, but as we can see, offers a bit more complexity to the wine as well.
Yeah, amazing. Well, James, thank you. That's
Pleasure.
A wonderful Main Ridge Estate Chardonnay, and were I to have that, that's for me easily a 10, 15-year wine.
Excellent.
Possibly a little bit more, and it'll be a fascinating journey. Well
I'll
done.
start putting some boxes away then.
Thank you.